Welcome, everyone. We'll just give everyone a couple of minutes to start trickling in here. If there's anyone that has joined us already, please drop in the chat where you're joining from. We'll get started in just a few seconds here. I see a lot of people in chat from Toronto. That's where I'm also from. Love to see it. Awesome. Well, looks like we have a good group already. I'm sure more people will start trickling in, but I'd love to kick us off officially. So, welcome everyone. Really great to have you here. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day today. I'm Sarah Kang from Gorgias, and I will be your host for today's session, AI Trends in E-commerce for 2026 and beyond. Again, as folks are still joining us, feel free to drop a hello in the chat. Again, tell us where you're joining from. And maybe one word that describes how you're feeling about AI in e-commerce right now, whether that's curious, skeptical, you're all in, you're just trying to figure it out. Always interesting to see where everyone is at. At Gorgias, I actually work closely with some of our strategic technology partners. So I spend a lot of time working with brands and talking about how platforms are using AI, how it's being implemented, what's really driving results. And one thing is really clear, the conversation has shifted quickly. We're no longer debating whether AI matters anymore. We're actually figuring out whether it creates real advantage. So today we'll dig into what we're seeing across e-commerce, the trends shaping 2026, what's working in practice, and where brands are seeing some real measurable impact. So really appreciate you all being here. Okay, so as we go through today's session, please feel free to engage in the chat, ask lots of questions, share feedback. We really want to hear from you directly. And before we get started, I have to introduce our amazing lineup of speakers today. I'll kick things off. I already introduced myself, but I'm Sarah Kang, host of today's session. And next up, we have Phil from Consio. We have Tamanna from Triple Whale, Mallory from Nosto, Mike from Smile.io, and John from Customers.AI. Everyone today brings a unique perspective, and I'm really looking forward to learning more from all of our great partners. Okay, well, I will kick us off from the Gorgias side. So, when we were putting together this topic, AI trends in e-commerce for 2026, I really kept thinking about what I said before about how dramatically this conversation has changed in such a short period of time. So, not long ago, AI really felt experiential. It was new, it was innovative, teams were testing it. It was something founders were curious about, and it was considered as optional, but now it's really looked at as operational. And today, I just don't want to talk about AI in abstract and futuristic terms. I really want to talk about what's actually happening inside of e-commerce brands today and where AI is creating leverage, where it's creating growth, and where it's quietly becoming a real competitive infrastructure. And at Gorgias, we actually sit at the intersection of CX and revenue. We power millions of conversations between brands and shoppers every single day. So, what I'm sharing today isn't just theoretical, it's really based on what's working in production. Okay, so let's kick it off. If you look at this slide here and really just take a look at the adoption curve, it's clearly telling a story. So in 2024, around 69% of brands were using AI in some form, and that was the experimentation phase. Pilots, small wins, early automations. But in 2025, adoption rate actually jumped up to 87%. And that's when AI stopped being a side project and started really being embedded into current workflows. And then flash forward to today in 2026, we're looking at near universal adoption at 96%. But the more important shift isn't just the percentages that we see on the screen, it's really the mindset. The early question was, should we use AI? Then it was, how should we implement AI? And now it's really, how do we win with AI? And it's a really different conversation. When that hesitation drops effectively to zero and AI becomes really essential infrastructure, and adoption is the clear advantage here. Brands that are really pulling ahead now aren't the ones with the most AI tools across their stack. They're the ones who have really integrated AI into how they operate, how they sell, and how they support and retain their customers. And I think that's truly the phase that we're entering in now. One of the biggest shifts that we're seeing is how brands are thinking about these actual conversations. And for years, support was really measured as a cost center to reduce tickets, improve response times, maintain CSAT. And now, actually, 84% of brands agree AI driven conversations are really increasing sales and conversions. 79% have seen revenue growth in the 11 to 20% range over the last 12 months. And nearly a third now treat conversational commerce really as a strategic pillar. That's a real structural shift. When someone starts a conversation with you on your site, that's true intent. If there's hesitation, there's uncertainty, there's a buying decision in motion. Historically, that moment was either handled by a human agent, which obviously, as we know, doesn't always scale, or a rigid FAQ bot that couldn't handle any type of nuance. And now AI can handle product related questions, surface recommendations, check order history, and take those things into action. And that really changes what the conversation looks like. And at Gorgias, we see brands realizing that the chat widget isn't just a support tool anymore, it's actually a revenue channel. And what's even more interesting is than conversion lift is actually velocity. So 93% of AI recommended purchases actually happen within 48 hours of a conversation starting in the first place. So AI doesn't just improve that conversion, it compresses time. And when someone hesitates about sizing, fit, compatibility, AI resolves that uncertainty instantly. And during BFCM, actually, or last BFCM, 50% of conversations were proactive. They were actually triggered based on behavior rather than waiting for customers to ask any questions. And shoppers who engage in conversation actually convert 154 times higher than those who don't. That stat really forces you to rethink what a conversation even is today. It's not reactive support, it's really guided selling. And the brands that really outsize impacts, they are not waiting for problems, they're initiating high intent conversations with their customers at scale. And before we look at a few real life tangible examples, I want to ground some of this conversation in kind of who we are at Gorgias and how we really approach this. Gorgias is a conversational AI platform built specifically for e-commerce brands. And we really started in that customer support segment, but over time, what we've built is that infrastructure layer between customer conversations and your e-commerce engine. We integrate directly with Shopify, subscription platforms, OMS systems, loyalty tools, post purchase tools. So when a conversation is happening, it's connected to real customer data. AI in e-commerce only works if it has the right context. Otherwise, it's just generating text. And our focus really has been building AI that doesn't just respond; it actually resolves in real time. And the second piece of this is really a structured rollout. A lot of AI implementations stall because they're unstructured. We guide brands through real measurable milestones, focusing first on high impact workflows, expanding intentionally. We even run a program designed to really help brands reach a 50% automation level within 50 days with clear guardrails and visibility. In 2026, owning your customer relationship matters today more than ever. And we all know it, but acquisition is expensive, margins are tighter than ever, retention is critical. So, your own channels, your site, your chat, SMS, email, social, these are your main advantages. And there's some examples here on the screen of a customer trying to cancel a subscription. I don't know if it's working totally, but in a traditional system, that cancellation just processes itself. And in a conversational AI flow, that context really matters. Maybe the product is coming back in stock, maybe there's a swap option, there's a personalized alternative. And again, it's not aggressive upselling, it's just intelligent retention. The mistakes we see brands make is really separating that marketing AI from support AI. Customers don't ever think in silos. They just think, I'm talking to this brand and I'm having this conversation. And when discovery, purchase, post sale, and retention all live inside one seamless conversation layer, that's how you create real continuity. And that builds trust and revenue with your customers. Okay, just want to get into a few tangible examples. So, OrthoFeed is a Gorgias customer using our AI across their support and commerce workflows today. When they started, their goal was super simple, just increase automation without sacrificing the customer experience. And today, by using Gorgias AI, they've actually reached a 56% automation rate, meaning more than half of their conversations are fully resolved end to end without human intervention. But what really stands out here is the quality. So their CSAT score is actually 4.8%, higher than their previous human only support benchmark. And during peak periods, they actually improved first response times by 92%. It's not just efficiency, it's really scalable infrastructure. They initially set a goal of 30% automation in 30 days, and they surpassed that and are now above 50%, continuing to expand strategically. So that progression is something we are constantly seeing with Gorgias customers today. Again, structured rollout, measurable gains, internal confidence, and then expansion from there. Last example I'll share here is Bare Minerals. They are also using Gorgias to power conversational product guidance, specifically for shade matching. Shade matching is a high consideration for many beauty brands today. It's very nuanced and returns are super costly, as you all know. So with Gorgias handling these conversations, actually Bare Minerals saw a 5% lift in conversion rate, a 5.5% lift in AOV, a zero return rate on AI handled conversations, and a 8.83 x ROI. So that ROI number is super important. It isn't incrementally optimized, it's measurable business impact. And when their e-commerce leader highlighted that AI wasn't simply just recommending products, it's asking for smart follow-up questions, clarifying undertones, narrowing down the choices, guiding customers towards real confidence in their purchase. And that's consultative selling really at scale. And that's what ultimately will protect margins. And these are Gorgias customers running this in production today. They're seeing real results across conversion, AOV, and return. So it's a really great example that I wanted to share. Okay, so as we wrap up here, just a couple thoughts to leave you all with as we look ahead to 2026 and beyond. Here's really how we're thinking about it. AI adoption is no longer just the advantage. Intentional execution is really what we're looking at here. Brands that will win are brands that are going to use AI to initiate high intent conversations, really connect support and marketing into one conversational layer, measure AI in business outcomes, not just automation rates, and treat conversations really as a revenue infrastructure. And at Gorgias, this is exactly what we're focused on, building AI specifically for e-commerce complexity. So if you do have any questions, I'm going to stick around in the chat and answer them all, but I've also shared my email here on the screen, so you can feel free to reach out to me directly there. All right, and we've got some amazing speakers coming up next. I believe we are going to hear directly from Triple Whale.
Sarah, can we announce the prize winner for your session?
Yes, we will announce a prize winner. Give me a moment here. I think I'll come back to it right after we have Tamanna present. Tamanna, I'm going to give the floor over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I'm Tamanna. I'm one of the tech partner managers here at Triple Whale. And as always, huge thank you to the Gorgias team for having me here today. I'm going to be walking you through our 2025 ad performance benchmarks and key trends, which is pulled directly from a report that we put together to help teams plan with confidence. And I'll be sure to share the full report with you guys at the end as well. All right, so let's just dive right in. E-commerce brands today, they're honestly drowning in data, but they're starving for insights that drive real action. And that's where Triple Whale comes in. Triple Whale is the e-commerce intelligence platform built for faster and more confident decisions. Now, most analytics platforms are probably telling you what's happening, but at Triple Whale, we actually help you understand why. And more importantly, we help you understand what to do next. And at Triple Whale, we are not just another data tool. We are the go-to e-commerce intelligence platform for brands that are just scaling fast and need clarity in their decision making. Today, we're also the proud source of truth for over 50,000 plus innovative brands. And that includes well-known names like Calpac, MeUndies, Peloton, Culture Kings, and so many more. But we're not just working with brands, we're actually powering an entire ecosystem of e-commerce growth. With 2,000 plus trusted agency partners and 65 plus deep tech integrations, we ensure that our customers get the most out of their data, from marketing to inventory, and of course, ultimately to profitability. Now, if you're wondering what that looks like in action, we actually have a full section of case studies, which I encourage you guys to check out. All right, so let's just dive right in. 2025 ad performance benchmarks. So I want to focus on three surprises that really stood out in the benchmarks, and more importantly, what they tell us about where performance is headed this year in 2026. So first up, Meta is consolidating, not fragmenting, which means scale and platform concentration still matter more than diversification for most brands. Attribution is breaking down. So even as true performance improves, this is actually forcing teams to rethink what signals they actually trust. And number three, AI-driven search is growing fast but unevenly, with real momentum but limited concentrated adoption. So the summary is that taken together, these trends really show which bets will accelerate into 2026 and which ones are likely to just face resistance. Now, those benchmarks don't just explain the past, they actually point to what's next. So let's talk about the top three trends that are shaping 2026, which is powered by Triple Whale data. So again, AI is no longer just influencing discovery. In 2025, it actually starts driving transactions. So AI moves from assistive to actually actionable. When we look at the data, this shift is not theoretical. It's already happening. So in 2025 alone, AI driven search orders grew over 1,400%, with nearly all of that actively concentrated in ChatGPT, now holding over 97% of market share. Even so, AI still remains less than 1% of total e commerce orders today. Now, that may sound really small, but it's actually what mobile commerce looked like in 2008 and social commerce in 2015. So it's really early, but it's definitely accelerating. And the difference this time is distribution. So with Shopify's ChatGPT integration live across over 1 million stores, the infrastructure is already in place. So once AI commerce crosses that 1% threshold, history tells us adoption is going to move very, very fast. All right, so the real question is, what do you actually do with this shift? Now, as AI becomes a place where shopping decisions happen, brands need to really think less about driving traffic and more about being visible inside the answer itself. Now, AI is becoming the new shelf. And if your products aren't structured and understood by these systems, you simply don't show up where it actually matters the most. So that's why the early winners are investing in AI visibility, clean, structured product data, and conversational commerce. So this isn't just about chasing a shiny new channel. It is about making sure that AI can accurately represent your products, pricing, and overall just differentiation. Because when AI becomes a primary shopping surface, the brands that win won't be the loudest, they're going to be the most legible. All right, so trend number two, platform diversification will be critical. Relying on a single platform creates existential crisis. 2026 will test whether rising costs finally force the diversification that economics already justify. So the winners won't diversify reactively, they're going to do it strategically. And this is where the story gets a little bit uncomfortable because going into 2025, we expected diversification, but the data actually shows the opposite. Spend actually consolidated. Meta grew from about 65% to over 68% of total spend, while Google, TikTok, and Amazon all lost share. And that isn't because brands don't understand the risk. It's actually because rising costs and declining efficiency makes experimentation feel really unsafe. So Meta is still the most predictable place to spend, even if it's more expensive. And that said, we're starting to see cracks. So categories like health and beauty and apparel lean more into TikTok, especially during moments like BFCM. But most will still spend, sorry, but most spend still snaps back to Meta. So while the economics clearly support diversification, behavior hasn't caught up yet. And that gap is exactly what 2026 will force brands to confront. So the opportunity here isn't just spending on more platforms, it's really changing how diversification is done. Brands fail when diversification is reactive. When you're panic testing channels or spreading budgets without really the right infrastructure. Strategic diversification looks different. Now it's built on unified attribution, cross channel visibility, and tools that just let teams scale across platforms without adding complexity. Now, the winners won't just abandon Meta; they're actually going to de-risk it. So, with the right analytics and optimization systems, they can actually expand into TikTok, accent by app level, and beyond with confidence. Because honestly, in 2026, diversification won't be optional, but done right, it is going to become one of your growth levers. So, trend number 3, mid-market D2C goes physical. 8-figure D2C brands are also expanding beyond screens. Companies have pop ups, wholesale, flagship stores, and real life events. And as digital costs rise, physical retail is actually becoming a strategic growth lever. So, digital acquisition is getting more expensive. In 2025, CPAs rose about 8.6% and CPMs were up about 16%, while AOV barely moved. For many mid market D2C brands, that's not just inconvenient, it's actually structural. So when acquisition costs grow faster than revenue per order, digital alone can't sustain growth. And that's where we're seeing a resurgence in physical retail and in-person experiences. So we're seeing a lot more pop-ups, flagship stores, real-life events, and they aren't just brand plays. They're actually economic levers to offset the rising digital costs. So, the brands that thrive will treat physical as a strategic channel, not just a side project. So, what that means is they're going to be investing in the right infrastructure. Platforms actually manage their pop ups efficiently, tools to measure geolift and real world impact, omni-channel attribution to connect online and offline behavior, and analytics that show which locations and events actually drive true ROI. So, by combining digital and physical insights, mid-market D2C brands can diversify growth, they can control costs, and they can even reach customers in ways purely online strategies cannot. Now, physical isn't just an option anymore. It is necessary to complement and to scale your profitability. So, the takeaway here, AI commerce is small but scaling fast. It is pushing discovery straight into transactions. And ad spend is still consolidating as performance gets pricier. Diversification isn't gone, just delayed. And with the rising digital costs, D2C brands are just returning to physical retail as a true performance channel. So, the bottom line, brands that prepare early and diversify smartly are going to be the ones that win what's next. All right, guys, before AI can drive real action, you need a strong data foundation, which is why we're actually giving you access to this free dashboard to help you track key metrics and make smarter decisions. I'm going to drop the link in the chat along with my email and LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have. Thank you guys so much for joining today, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tamanna. Are
Thanks,
you able
Sarah.
to hear me?
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I think there's a problem with my Wi-Fi, unfortunately. But I was just saying, I love the comparison between conversational shopping and the early days of mobile shopping. I think who would have thought that that would become what it is today? And that's the exact kind of transformation we're about to see with conversational shopping. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Hopefully I'll be able to get my camera on here. Okay, perfect. So we want to announce the winners. So first, before I let you go, we're going to announce the winners of my session and the gorgeous winners, which was Janina Blackman. So congratulations. We'll be reaching out with your prize here. And Tamanna, the winner of your prize is Melinda Davies, which is a $75 Visa gift card. So congratulations to the winners. We'll follow up with all of you.
Awesome.
Great. Thanks, Tamanna. Okay, well, next up, we are going to hear from the Consio team. So we're going to have Phil join us on the stage shortly. Hey, Phil, how are you?
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Sarah. Really appreciate it.
Of course, of course. We're really looking forward to hearing from you. So I will give you the stage.
Awesome. And yeah, there was some questions from Caitlin and Dallas in the chat around voice AI. So we're glad to be talking about that today and help answer those. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to post as well. And I'll try to tackle and be quick on my presentation. So let's get into it. Perfect.
Thanks,
Boom. Cool. I'm Phil, the one of the co-founder here at Consio. We're the AI phone platform for commerce. So yeah, one of the things we'll talk about is obviously AI voice agents, but not only, also how AI can augment your human agents to perform better on the phone, and also just good old phone when only humans are really driving the actions here. Let's jump into it. But a lot of you guys know, especially if you have like a slightly higher average order value product, the most valuable shoppers that you will have in your funnels are going to be the one that you talk to on the phone. You know, especially in pre-sale, if you can get a hold of someone with real questions before they purchase, like their likelihood to convert is exponentially higher than if they engage with an email or no communication channel at all. And we're talking about usually around 20% conversion for people that you talk to on the phone before they make a purchase. But it's really a hard channel to scale, because like brands will put a phone number on their website, but they can't really track the ROI. Something that every brand almost does phenomenally well is collecting very large phone number list through their SMS program, but really they only send a few SMS communications per month. And then like, yeah, there shouldn't, it can be costly if humans are handling just basic e-com support calls. So you really want to try to automate that and only pass high intent VIP purchasers into your human queues for conversion. So we launched Consio. We're the AI phone, natively Shopify integrated. There's really three things that you can do to level up your phone experience. Well, first, it's rolling out, obviously, a great AI voice agent for e-commerce. And you can also generate more revenue by setting up e-com calling campaigns on your VIPs, B2B clients, repeat buyers, churn subscribers, and so on. And obviously, abandoned checkouts. And then it's just leveraging AI to get all of the insights that you're generating with phone calls. You get so many real human, like, and AI conversation, but just like how do you decipher the voice of the customer across all of that in order to get real actionable insights based on your conversations. What is the status of AI voice capabilities today for e-commerce? So what can you expect if you're rolling out like an AI voice agent tomorrow on your store? What realistically it will be able to do? There's a couple of things. First, it will have context. So you should be able to have your AI voice agent have context on the previous conversations that the customers had, on previous SMS maybe messages that they had, and they should also be able to transfer to available agents based on some rules, just like business hours and so on. The AI agents should also have access to all of the orders of your customers and their tracking information, what was like how much they paid, if they used a discount, and so on. And finally, they should also have access to your product catalog, right? If somebody asks any question around the product or to calculate cost and so on, that should all be loaded in your AI knowledge by default. So it can really provide clear recommendations to your customers in your funnel. We'll review one of those, example right now. So here's like Endor Willow. They sell wood panels for interior design, and we're just gonna review like a little bit of a call that happens with like where a human and an AI are working side by side to close a big sale.
Making my day right now. Dude, you're a big help, man. That's why I needed somebody to call me back. I'm gonna order these then.
Hello, this is Rachel. I am Andor Willow's assistant. How can I help today?
Yes, I'd like to speak with someone about paintable slatted wall panels.
To give you the best assistance, could you tell me a bit about your project?
78 feet long, 22 inches high.
For a 78 feet long wall using the paintable MDF panels, you'll need 21 boxes. What day and time would be best for a representative to call you?
Right now.
Okay, I've got it. I'll make sure one of our representatives calls you back as soon as possible.
Hi, this is Nathan. I'm calling from Andor Willow.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So I got your inquiry.
Cool. I mean, just a little example of like AI plus humans working side by side to qualify buyers, give them very precise information, pre-pricing, qualification, and so on. And then like this agent comes in and just like goes right into the money. Trust is already built and closes a big sale. So that's really one exciting way that like those agents can work side by side with your team. Another way that AI can be used is actually if you're calling some customers in order to drive more sales, you can use AI to determine when you're hitting a voicemail to automatically drop like a voicemail recording that's specific to that customer, right? So so that your agents don't need to record manually different voicemails and so on, can use AI to really determine the perfect moment to drop. And here's an example of what one of the brand we've seen like use voicemail drops, intelligent voicemail drops to drive a couple more sales. So this one is a little bit more aggressive, but I hope you like it. It's from HK Army. They sell paintball equipment.
Influencer voicemail drops.
Yo, Mr. H from HK Army checking in. I see you on hkarmy.com. That tells me one thing. You're ready to level up. So here's what you're going to do. Use code FREESHIPHK at checkout. Boom. Free shipping. No fluff. Free ship HK at checkout. But here's the deal. Success favors the ones who move. You wait too long, you miss the moment. You hesitate, you lose your edge. You want to win? Then show up prepared to smash heads. Time to get to work.
Anyway, these guys have been dropping this voicemail on some abandoned checkouts over and using AI to determine when to drop it, and it's been printing. It's very on brand for them, but it wouldn't be like everybody's has to present it like this, but this is one way to do it. And there was a question, I think, from Fabrice. Yes, on the voice, tone, everything, you can modify everything depending on your provider for AI voice agents. But for us, like in the back end, one of our technology providers is Levin Labs. So we can really go deep, like adjust speed and so on. And there's some new updates like that even allow you to have like more sentiment in the thing based on how people are talking to you. So it's getting really, really advanced and customizable. And the last thing we want to share is just that like humans still have a huge place in conversations with your customers. So for example, Vitaly, they've been re-engaging past VIP customers to present new styles. So it's really a concierge that's like engaging on the phone and SMS, and that's providing one-to-one like feedback on an outbound perspective. And that's been also driving a lot of things. So people really appreciate just like being really walked through the catalog, what's new, and so on. So like, we'll take a quick peek at this one here.
VIP concierge.
This is Jose from Clocks and Colors. How's it going?
Wow, what's up? I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. We are just going through our long-time customer list. How are your pieces
Yeah.
holding up so far?
One of my fingers is super rad right now. I'm wearing it. I feel like you dialed in your machine work. This thing is definitely super intricate. I have the Black Widow one.
Okay.
And I'm really pleased with it. It's such a beautiful piece, and I just really like you guys, man. You guys are super rad, and customer service was absolutely outstanding.
Oh, and actually, for being a long-time customer, would love to hook you up with a VIP discount code. How does that sound for you?
Dude, that sounds fantastic, brother.
Perfect. Can you check your email for me, please?
Awesome. Well, what's great about those conversations actually is that, AI will go on top of them and just analyze all of the content and provide this feedback. So right now it was a lot of positive feedback, but sometimes it would be like, hey, my piece didn't hold up or something broke and so on. So like, how do you transform and gather voice of the customer really at scale? So we're doing that by like obviously analyzing with AI every conversations that happen on the phone. So and this one obviously still led to a sell. So yeah, brands like Willow that we shared a little bit earlier, they're doing about 3,500 calls a month right now, generating 200K in phone sales last month and converting 14% of all phone calls into a sale. So like all of these is like pretty easy to roll out and build an AI just like you wanted, and it will really help to build more trust with your customers by displaying a phone number and building those relationships a little bit more deeply. Where we're seeing like brands have a lot of success, like there's some regulated industries around like CBD and some supplements like that people need reassurance on, like on ingredients, on different components of the product that might not necessarily be easily available. Like people obviously targeting a little bit more an older demographics, and then like anything that's high ticket items like usually does amazing on the phone. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more about the phone channel and how it looks in 2026, we'd be happy to give you 1,000 free minutes on Consio, plus build your custom AI for free for you guys. Don't hesitate to hit me up, Phil at Consio.ai, and yeah, we'll be more than glad to chat about how phone is making a comeback.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Phil. Another thing that I'd also like to add is we have actually updated, or the Gorgias team has updated our integration with Consio. So now our AI IVR actually works directly with Gorgias Voice, handling and resolving calls all up front and passing over that information to your team when it's actually necessary. So we're very excited about that. Look out for an updated information on our integration. All right, Phil, before you... Of course, before you go, we have to announce your winner. The winner of Consio's giveaway is Jennifer Yoder. Congrats, Jennifer.
Jennifer, amazing to see you in the chat as always. We appreciate you. So yeah, I'm glad you're winning the session. We'll be in touch.
Amazing. Thanks, Phil. All right. Well, next up on the stage, we have the Customers.AI team, joining us. We're really looking forward to hearing from you. Amazing. Hey, John, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Sarah?
I'm good. We're looking forward to learning a little bit more. I'm going to pass the floor over to you.
Sure. Thank you. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about LTV, but in a roundabout way. Customers.AI is a signals company, and we help optimize Klaviyo performance, basically, at the end of the day. And we work with a ton of email marketers who are doing things a little bit sideways, I think, and we're trying to deliver this message that it's not all about chasing revenue in your email ESP anymore. It's mostly about chasing engagement. So the stat that I want to start off with is if you look at deliverability scores in Klaviyo, the average is about 60 or 65 out of 100, which is really, really bad. And there's a reason. It's because over the last couple of years, the way inbox providers have started to do engagement tracking is it's not just about looking for spam and unsubscribes and negative engagements anymore. It's also about looking for emails that get sent that people just don't care about, that they don't look at and they delete. And that signal is maybe not quite as bad as a spam complaint or an unsubscribe, but it is bad. And when you have huge chunks of your audience that you're sending emails to not engaging, it creates this vicious cycle where everyone wants to send more emails because they want to make more money, and they send more emails and there's less engagement, and then they are able to deliver less emails, and we go in this circle that doesn't really work. So I want to kind of pitch you on a new paradigm, which is you need to send emails not for revenue. That's not what you're trying to optimize anymore. Revenue is a second order effect. What you're trying to do is get engagement. You want people to open your emails, ideally click the emails. And if that's not happening, something isn't quite right. So I want to give you a couple examples of what you very likely would see if you dug into your Klaviyo account, or really any ESP for that matter. Here's an example of a customer. So this is a profile if you're not familiar with Klaviyo's layout here. We're looking at all the events that have taken place on this particular profile. This customer has received emails for like 3 months, every couple of days. They've never opened an email, and the merchants just decided to just keep on emailing them. This for sure will turn into an unsubscribe or a spam complaint. And even if it doesn't, this is bad. Like, this has a negative impact on all the other emails you send to all the other profiles, because Gmail's looking at this and saying, hey, they're sending emails that people just aren't interested in. So the idea here is that this person should be automatically unsubscribed. And this is a pretty easy pattern to see. But these are the kinds of things that people aren't doing. And I know everyone thinks they're on top of this stuff, but I'm in these accounts every single day and I see the same mistakes. The opposite mistake is somebody's been suppressed. Maybe you actively suppress somebody because you don't think that they're going to buy, or they received a bunch of emails and didn't engage with them, and they were suppressed, but they have now landed on the site again. They look like they're engaging, and we're not emailing them. So that person needs to be unsuppressed. Now, how does this all relate to AI and machine learning? Well, you can't really go through every profile every day or every week or probably even every month and hand pick who you think actually looks like they're going to buy and who you think you should stop emailing. There's these patterns that we just looked at are easy to see, but there's much more complicated patterns that show up if you do some machine learning on the events that customers generate. And you can really pick and choose and see who's likely to buy and who's unlikely to buy. And you can make these decisions on a very regular basis. So you have this really clean, healthy list that gets lots of engagement. Now, we have a product that does this, but I also wanted to pitch you, if you're creative and you want to get your hands dirty, you could actually potentially dig into some of this yourself. So you could connect Claude or whatever LLM tool you're using to the Klaviyo MCP server, and you could type in some prompts like, can you find me some emails that we're emailing, but they're unengaged? And this is kind of just an exercise in proving to yourself that this is happening without having to go through hundreds of emails. You probably can't build a scalable system like this, but you can kind of get into the nitty gritty without looking through thousands of profiles. What we actually do with this information is we have a system that every single night we grade every single profile in the account, and we determine if they look interested or if they look disinterested. And we bucket them into 2 groups. We just assign labels in Klaviyo, if you're familiar with labels. And these groups are very, very sophisticated and accurate. So here's an example of us sending some emails to the group we think is engaged. $10,000 was made in revenue. And then we also, although you shouldn't do this, we also emailed the group we thought should be suppressed, but the merchant was actually emailing. We sent 45,000 emails and they made $193 on those emails. So you can see how dramatic the difference is. The engagement statistics were also this dramatic. It is, with some machine learning, easy to predict who to email and who not to. But people just simply aren't doing this stuff. They're trying to do it with segments, and it typically doesn't work out very well because those segments go stale really, really quickly. So the moral of the story is send less and earn more. It's not send more and earn more anymore. I think that a while ago, before the inbox tools actually really, really looked for engagement, but it just doesn't work anymore. And if you look across Klaviyo accounts or whatever email tool you're using, you can tell companies that know what they're doing aren't blasting emails anymore. So I recommend taking into consideration this new paradigm. Look, it's pretty much the end of my presentation. I can't really give away that tool for free or anything like that, but I wanted to deliver something to you guys. So we have another tool that moves emails from the promotions tab to the inbox. It works really well. Here's an example of it working. It added $1,000 to a single campaign in Klaviyo. I have like hundreds of these examples. It's very easy to work with. Our competitors sell the tool for like $15,000 a year. We're selling it for $99 for life right now. So that's the whole thing. Sarah, I'm done.
Amazing. Thank you, John. Great work. A lot of questions and comments for you in the chat, so please feel free to jump in there when you have a moment. But before you go, we have to announce your giveaway item for the $75 gift card. It goes to Valerie Rados. So congratulations, Valerie, and we will follow up with that information for you. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Sarah. See you guys. Thanks for listening.
All right, everyone, we've got 2 more amazing presenters coming up next, but now we're going to hear from the Smile team, and we've got Mike joining us on stage in a moment. And there you are. Hey, Mike.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sarah.
Of course. I'll give the floor over to you.
Cool. So you've heard a lot about AI today. I think one of the things that everyone's wondering about is how do you get started and how do you make sure that you aren't just pushing out generic sort of AI slop as you sort of roll out AI. You want it to be very, very customized and very sort of on brand feeling. The way AI works is that it's essentially pattern recognition. I know there's a lot of fancy words put around it, but at the end of the day, it's pattern recognition. And the way that AI can recognize the patterns in your business and your customers is if you have more first-party data. And what that means is if you're able to collect more data on customers, so things like birthday, things like VIP status, things like preferences. If you're a cosmetics brand, thinking about the favorite color or favorite products that a customer has, that's all first-party data that then you can use to customize the experience at scale with AI. So at the end of the day, how does it come down to, or what it comes down to is how do you encourage more sharing of this data? How do you gather more data from customers? And one of the things that we'll explain throughout this session is how do you go from enriching customer data to elevating your AI capabilities? How do you encourage customers to enrich their own customer data? And then how do you use that to elevate your brand's AI capabilities? So a bit of background on me. I'm the CEO, co-founder at Smile. We're the most scaled loyalty platform in the Shopify ecosystem. We run programs for brands like Eddie Bauer, K-Swiss, Tops. We have 85,000 Shopify merchants, and we've generated a huge ROI for those brands. So that's a little bit about us. We have a lot of experience with e-commerce loyalty programs, and we're seeing top brands starting to adopt loyalty more and more. So you're probably familiar and you're probably a user of many loyalty programs. You may be wondering why these big brands run these programs. Well, it's usually one of these reasons. They want to increase customer lifetime value, discounting. They want to differentiate from others. So you may be thinking about Sephora's VIB program. That's a competitive differentiator. They have a great program that's super enjoyable for their users to use. But more and more, we're seeing top brands, like the top brands that you know, adopting loyalty membership, club-based programs because it allows them to give customers non-monetary status-based incentives to give customer data to the brand. They can then use that data, as John mentioned, like to obviously create smarter segments, but then also to create AI experiences at scale. So the data is more valuable than ever. And the bigger your brand gets, the more valuable this data is going to become. So as you see brands get bigger and bigger, like airlines, public companies, you see almost universally, they have some sort of membership program, some sort of club. The purpose of that is to encourage getting customer data so that you can empower better AI experiences in the long run. And a bit of a sort of like why these brands run loyalty programs. The financial benefit has always been there, and some of these programs have been around for a while, but there's now this added benefit of enhancing your data training set so that the AI can better recognize patterns and you can create more customized experiences. So if you're running a loyalty program, this is something you can take advantage of right now. We're going to explain how you can do that with tools like Gorgias a little bit later on. But these programs all have a commonality of great incentives for the customer for giving that data over, or for signing up to enable that data to be handed over, combined with visibility of the program through checkout, customer account pages, and POS. We'll cover that in a second. And those usually lead to great results. So what do I mean by this? Like, what do I mean by visibility of a loyalty program? When you sort of make it obvious how many points a customer will earn or what VIP status they'll achieve in checkout, that encourages account creation, which then allows you to use AI tools to make things more personalized for customers. Without this, you're risking more anonymized purchases. And this is even more so at POS. If you're running, for example, Shopify store with Shopify POS, you should almost always be running some form of loyalty program to encourage capturing the customer data from your in-person customers. Otherwise, there really is no ongoing incentive to give customer data as a customer. Like, signing up for a newsletter is like a little bit forward sometimes right at the POS. So joining a loyalty program is a little bit less. So it's a really great incentive to share the information. So where does this information go? It allows you to power omni-channel AI experiences across the entire rest of the customer journey. So if you're capturing that customer data at checkout or at POS, you're then able to use it throughout email, throughout support conversations, text, WhatsApp, mobile apps if you have them, and then social as well. So this is a way of this is like how I think about gathering customer data and being able to improve your AI powered customer experience. Is if you have no first party customer data, your AI experience will feel extremely generic. It will feel like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever tools you're using under the hood, because it doesn't have anything unique. It doesn't have any unique data. It doesn't have any unique patterns on customers. But as soon as you start populating this with, hey, here are the 3 VIP tiers that my customers are distributed across. Here's the purchase history. Here's the favorite colors of my cosmetics brands customers. Here are their favorite products. Here's the support ticket history. Then you're starting to add on first-party data, and the AI customer experience starts to improve rapidly. And then you end up with diminishing returns. You don't need to start collecting this data infinitely. You don't need tons of data points for every customer. AI is pretty good these days, and the models are getting better every single week, it feels like. But making sure that you're starting to capture and thinking about how you can capture this first-party data, whether it's through loyalty or surveys or any other means, is only going to make your ability to improve your AI customer experience better over time. If there's one thing to take away from this, is start thinking about how to capture your own brand's first-party data, because that is going to serve you really, really well in the long run. If you're just running generic customer experience, it's going to feel generic. So once you've collected all this data, let's say you have a great running loyalty program, you have VIP tiers, you have points balances, you have favorite colors of customers, you have all like these cool things attached to their profile. The way to think about how this blends into customer support is you have the old way and you have the new way. And how do you use the old way to elevate sort of niche customer experiences? Then how do you use the new way at scale? So when we think about loyalty and the sort of traditional customer experience, we've seen brands for years display smile customer profile next to their tickets in Gorgias, for example, or balance of points or VIP status, and using that to differentiate customer experiences and maybe even like triage or prioritize customers in a different way. That's sort of the traditional way. And that's sort of, if you're part of an airline program, for example, that's what they've been doing for years. But then there's this sort of future, and we're very small, lean teams of less than 10 people scale into tens of millions of dollars in revenue doing this second part here, where agents are aware of customers' points and rewards and progress towards next tier, and like all the cool things that can be done as part of an AI experience is now possible, where proactive messaging about loyalty and rewards are possible as part of this customer experience. So you're able to provide this differentiated experience, but at scale, not just when they're talking to one of your agents, or one of your sort of actual physical staff, which is super cool. So what does this look like? It looks like it sort of manifests itself with merchants who have great first-party data. They're able to do things like have the AI assistant remind people that, hey, you have this amount of points available. It's this amount of discounts. That's a huge conversion increase. And that can actually happen at scale with agents if those agents have the first-party data of the loyalty data. Again, imagine this with a product recommendation as well, same thing's possible. So loyalty, if there's one thing to take away, start taking your steps towards your own brand's first-party data. That's going to set you up well in the future. Loyalty improves the AI customer experience quality. So it makes the loyalty program or the loyalty experience, whatever that is, post-purchase shipping, whatever, makes it feel more natural. And the way to think about Smile, if you're wanting something to take away from us, is we're the loyalty infrastructure providing that, and we connect with all the other AI tools that you're using. So Gorgias obviously included in that list, and we have lots of mutual customers together. So two takeaways. Effective loyalty program is the way to provide customers with a non-monetary, non-cheesy incentive to actually give you first-party data. And then what do you do with that data? You look for AI tools, the top AI tools that you can use to enhance the customer experience at scale with AI. So that's it, short and sweet from us here at Smile. And that's how we think about how top brands using Smile are actually incentivizing the creation of new first-party data within their platforms. Obviously, I didn't get into this, but you can also reward surveys and stuff like that. But more topic for a future conversation. Back to you, Sarah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mike. Ton of questions and comments for you in the chat, but that was a great session. Lots of useful tips. I, of course, love the shout out and mention of the Gorgias integration. And I know you already shared this, but our integration actually brings that loyalty data directly into Gorgias so agents can see that customer profile. They can see balance, rewards, VIP status, and really take action on the spot to be able to create that personalized, loyalty-driven experience that you've been talking about. So thank you so much, Mike. We really appreciate it. We'll let you go, but hopefully you can stick around and answer some of those questions in the chat.
Yeah, we'll jump over the chat now.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Okay, well, last but not least, we've got one more speaker. We are welcoming Mallory from the Nosto team to the stage. Hey, Mallory.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. We're really looking forward to hearing more from you. So I'll throw it over to you now to share.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So hi, everyone. My name is Mallory. I am from Nosto. And those of you who are not familiar with Nosto, we're an agentic commerce experience platform. We're focused on helping brands deliver the most relevant, intelligent shopping experiences. And when it comes to, I went a little too far. When it comes to agentic commerce, such a big topic. I know we've heard from a lot of speakers today, and we're really focusing on AI. AI and e-commerce has officially moved out of that experimental phase, which is what we've been hearing and what we know. So it's no longer about whether to use AI. It's really about how well it shows up in the experience. And experience is really, really big. So Nosto actually has a new report, and we did a study of over 2,000 consumers from both North America and the UK, and have some statistics and a few trends that are really shaping agentic commerce, intelligent, proactive experiences that help shoppers move forward with confidence. So this is a big one, probably one of the most important statistics that I'm going to share today. A majority of consumers already expect AI to help them shop, while retailer investments remain limited, creating a very clear readiness gap. So we can see the very obvious 30% difference here. So the customer expectation is actually outpacing the retailer investment. And when it comes to quality, why this matters so much, while shoppers are expecting AI on site, if you're going to invest in AI, execution quality is not optional. It's very critical. So poor AI experiences don't just fail to help, they actually push shoppers away. So we found with our study that nearly 70% of early adopters left or searched elsewhere after receiving irrelevant recommendations. And perceived value, when it comes to that, consumers see the most value from AI early in the journey, which is really interesting, especially in product discovery and decision making, where it reduces choice fatigue and comparison fatigue. So they don't expect AI to live in just the chat box. They expect it to be embedded in things like search, in product recommendations, and other familiar surfaces. That's why concepts like AI generated reveal sections really, really matter. They proactively surface relevant products and trends without needing a prompt. And I think what's really interesting here, I know it's a little bit smaller on the screen. If you see at the bottom, the preferred interaction point, 46% preferred the AI interaction in the search bar versus a chat box. So while they're close, that 41%, there is a little bit higher of the preference in search bar. And the emotional payout, trust. Trust is huge, and we know that for brands. So early adopters, those who have used AI assistants, report a much higher brand trust. So when AI experiences are relevant, timely, and helpful, they don't just drive conversion, they build that trust that brands are looking for. And trust is the currency brands will compete on in 2026. So to go over some of the big data points that I just discussed, this data points to clear order of priorities heading into 2026. Act early to close that readiness gap, focusing on AI where it delivers the most value in decision making and discovery. Embed it into existing shopping services, not just that chat, and prioritize relevance and transparency, because trust is earned through that experience. The advantage here isn't just better technology, it's also better timing. So with that, I've added a QR code that links to our full report. So if you want to take a snapshot of that and go over to our full report, you can download everything, see some of the data that I mentioned, as well as some really interesting insights from Nosto on how to optimize. And like I said, my name is Mallory. I've included my email here. So if you do have any follow-up questions, and I'll be sure to check the chat as well, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to get those answered for you or answer them myself if I can.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mallory. Really appreciate it. A ton of really great insights throughout your presentation, but I really like the tip about just embedding AI where shoppers already are today. I think that's so important. But thank you so much. We do have to announce your giveaway winner. So the winner of your $75 gift card is Claudia Beese. Congrats, Claudia. Amazing. All right. Well, Mallory, thank you again. And thank you to everyone for tuning in today. We've had such an amazing session, so many really great speakers, all sharing their perspective on AI trends for 2026. And that's all we have for you today. So thank you again. If there are any questions, this session will be recorded. So please feel free to watch it again, reach out to the speakers directly, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks, everyone.